Okay, I want to see if I can actually get through this video. I've tried like 6 times now. My dog is barking, and then my dog is barking, and then my dog is barking, and then the clock is chiming. And okay, so let's try this. I really wanted to share with you all about what God has been working on with me in the last few years and just really recently, lately. It always amazes me how God continues to move and work and show himself to us in our lives. And what I wanted to talk about was fear. Um, Fear is something that I've shared in some other videos that I've dealt with for a really long time. Kind of started when I was younger. When I was around 7 and 8, we had a period of 2 years in our family where we had, I believe, 8 different deaths. And it really impacted me. It was even to where when I was younger, I remember when the phone would ring, I would be nervous that it was somebody else that had died. And so kind of ever since then, I've had just I guess a grip of fear on my life to where I would be trying to fall asleep and laying there and just imagining what would happen if one of my brothers passed away, or my mom or my dad or someone else close to me. And very unhealthy. I think I tried the whole not thinking about it. I tried the whole thinking about it and trying to feel it all and feel what it would be like so that if it happens, it wouldn't be as bad. But the whole time I just felt really, I mean, I guess I said Breaking Chains was kind of the title, the chained by it though. And just, I mean, to where it would get to where it'd be hard to breathe. And I was really, really anxious about it. And it was something that just kind of in my life has never changed. It's always been there. And God started chipping away at it at a really interesting time. So, um, also with fear of loss of family, I also had a fear of loss of getting married and losing a spouse. And so I got married at 35, and a couple months, I think it was a month before our first anniversary, we were into a routine appointment for Gary and found out he has leukemia. And it totally just shattered us. It's a weird situation where he has cancer. They said it will most likely be what ends his life, and there's no cure, but it's not affecting him at this time. It's kind of this wait and see. And they don't do treatments for it until it really starts affecting, because the treatments are so hard and all this stuff. And so it was like this big world shattering news. He has cancer. It's going to end his life. And we just don't know when. And so every 6 months we go and have his blood work checked. And of course, initially it was just overwhelming. It was, like I said, we hadn't even celebrated our first anniversary. And I was dealing with significant health issues. And we came home and we just cried together. And it was this weird, like, life-shocking, I don't even know if that's a word, a rocking, life-shattering thing. And then nothing happened. And then we wait and nothing happened. And then we wait and nothing happened. And it's been 8 years and nothing has happened, thankfully, but they're constantly watching and they don't know when it will impact him or if it will ever impact him. And so right away I felt like, here's my biggest fear kind of being realized. And then fast forwarding a bit, COVID, I think has been an interesting time for all of us, because it's really been a time where we've all really looked at, we don't know when our last day is going to be. And obviously that's true no matter if COVID's here or not. But we don't know when our last day is going to be. And I think there was a lot of fear around that. And we were told that the type of leukemia Gary had, if he got COVID, it would be especially devastating for him. And at the beginning of COVID, I was really starting to fear more often. And the weird thing, though, is that God used that time to start breaking through this fear of mine, which doesn't make sense. And that's what I love about God, is it doesn't always make sense to us. But during the time of COVID, I think I was thinking more about eternity. I was thinking more about none of us know when our last day is, so what's going to be next? And studying the promises of God and studying the promises about those who are His, and that this is really just, our life here is just going to be so short compared to eternity, and we're going to have this amazing eternity with God, this all-loving Father, and light and life and no sickness, and all these amazing things, to where I was just reading through, seeing these promises and getting excited. Somebody in my family the other day, when I said I can't wait to see heaven or something, thought I was depressed, and I was like, I'm not depressed. I'm just excited. And what I found was, the more that I was keeping my eyes on God, the less I was fearful and worried about things around me, and God just really broke through those chains. I know that those times when they come, when I experience loss of family and close friends, and eventually someday my spouse, whether him or I first, we don't know, that it's going to be very difficult. But it's not that. The fear comes little bits, but it's more controllable. I can pray, and I can remind myself of God's promises, and it's not just that suffocating fear I felt before. And it's like just really focusing on, this is not our true life. And like I said, it was kind of a weird time where a lot of people were in more and more fear. I felt like God was starting to say, trust me, look at my promise, believe in me. And just recently you always kind of wonder when things are getting better, if it's really getting better or not. Recently found out some of my immediate family has some health issues, and I kind of was waiting for that fear to come back, and it was like, it's not there the way it used to be. And then a couple weeks ago, my aunt passed away, and then within a week, another family member passed away, and I started to have that panic again, like, oh no, here it comes again. It's going to be this, this continuation. And I just found myself going, you know what? I don't have to worry about that anymore. And I don't know how God exactly did it, but I just felt that, really kind of thinking about the fact that we obviously all die. None of us really can get away from that. But just the fact that I was thinking about it more during COVID, and it was things we were hearing about more, and I just really started going, okay, what do I believe? And do I truly believe that God says that He has paid for all of our sins? Which is the crazy thing, is all of our sins, like whether we've accepted it or not, they're paid for. We just have to accept that gift. It's kind of like will call tickets. You go to a game, and the tickets are there. You got to pick them up. And I love that God says in His Word, He says, it's not by works. I don't have to earn it, thankfully, because I'm not under any illusions that I could, by the way. But He says it's not by works. It's just by His grace giving us this gift, and we have to accept it. And in Romans 10:9, it says, if you confess with your mouth Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart God raised Him from the dead, you will be saved. And so He calls us to believe in who He is, to confess that we are sinners, and to rely on Him. I mean, that's it. That's really what it's about. And within that, we can have, I think somebody said it one time, like a vaccine from death or something like that. But basically, when we die, there is eternity coming. And whether we're going to spend it with God or without God is the big question. And I just say, I think the fear that I still do have is I fear for people that I care about that don't know God, that haven't accepted the gift that He's given, that don't have the assurance, because having that assurance that we can be with God, that we don't have to worry, that we don't have to do it on our own, that it's not about me and how good or bad or otherwise I am, is so freeing. And I think the fear that I have is for people that I know that don't have that. And so I'm just saying, if you don't know what would happen today if you were to pass away, if you're not sure God is real, just ask Him. Just say, God, are you there? Show me. And like I said, what He says is that if we believe in our heart God raised Him from the dead, if we confess with our mouth He is Lord, and we rely on Him, that's what it is. It's simple. It's very simple. For Him, He paid the ultimate price, but for us, He allows us this amazing gift of grace. And I know you're thinking, wait a minute, I've heard about those 10 commandments, right? I want to do a video about them coming up soon, so stay tuned. But basically, the 10 commandments were really a type of a mirror to show us that we couldn't do what would be expected to be perfect for a perfect God, and that we need God's grace. And so stay tuned if you're wondering a little more about the 10 commandments. I think to sum all this up, and I'm not sure how well I explain this because it's just so much going on in my head right now, but to sum it all up, there's a song that I remember hearing growing up that really sums it up, I think, in a good way. It says, "Turn your eyes upon Jesus, look full in His wonderful face, and the things of earth will grow strangely dim in the light of His glory and grace." And I think that's what I experienced during this time of uncertainty in our country, in our world, in our communities, focusing on Christ and kind of seeing the rest of that just dim. And I'm excited. I'm excited to have this freedom that I didn't think was possible. That this gripping of fear is finally chipping away. And like I said, I know that it will come and go, but it's not like it was. So I wanted to share with you a resource that I really like. It's called gotquestions.org. And it's a Christian website that talks about any type of topic you can want. You can type in 10 commandments. You can type in, I can't think of anything right now, but like how to become a Christian, what does it mean, who is God, all these things. And it's just done in a very, from what I've seen, a very biblical standpoint. And the reason I'm doing these videos is to hope to share what God is doing in my life, but also if you have questions about God that I would love you to, in the comments, please ask them. Little, big, hard, easy, doesn't matter. I'd love to try to address them if I can. And I usually end with a joke, but I'm not sure I'm ready. I haven't done a video for so long. Okay, let me think of one. I saw one the other day, but now I don't know if I can remember it. I'm going to go back to one of my favorites that was really silly. It says, "Sometimes I tuck my chin to my chest and lean forward because that's how I roll."